Hello and welcome to the Icoplay tutorial for our Particle Designer plugin. So just so you know, Particle Designer is a super versatile particle creation system that up till now has been used for lots of other platforms other than Unity. It's really great, super easily accessible. It's the go-to tool for basically everyone who uses particles. And now it's usable in Unity with the greatest of ease. It's super frictionless, and we'll show you the process now of exactly how you get it up and running. So once you've made your purchase from the asset store, you'll be presented with this window, and you're going to just want to click import, and it'll put everything into the project view that you're going to need. So you can see there we've got 3 folders there: particles, plugins and resources. So if we open up particles, we can see there's some guts in there. So at the top we've got the code, which is going to make sure that everything runs properly, and an example script there. If you don't like coding, you don't need to worry about this at all, but if you are interested in controlling these effects dynamically, there's a small example there that I've made that I'll go through a little bit later on as to how to do it, which has got just a few little calls that allow you to edit the system on the fly, which is nice. So we've got the materials, the prefab there, the Ico Particles prefab, which is what you'll be using. It's just drag and drop, super easy, and then an example scene of it up and running. The plugins directory just has the guts of the system in it. You don't need to worry about that too much. That's just the engine that keeps the car running. And then we also have a resources folder. So the resources have everything you need to get this up and running for your own particle systems. So inside here we've got a few example published particle systems. These are just literally directly exported from Particle Designer. Nothing has been done to them, they've been treated. There's no special process, they're just straight out of that program. You can see they're in pairs: Explosion, Mayhem, New Sun, Real Popcorn. The first of each one of those pairs is the Particle Designer, the PEX file, which is the actual configuration of the plugin itself, and then the second is the texture. So let's have a look at the example scene. You can see there's a main camera and an Ico Particles object. If we click that, straight away you can see a beautiful particle effect there. That's New Sun, straight from the Particle Designer library. Really lovely effect, and working straight away in Unity. You can see, like, we haven't even clicked play. We've made it so you can get a live demo in the window without hitting play, just so you can see what the effect looks like. If you do hit play, obviously it starts again, it works just fine. But like I say, it'll work in both formats, which is nice. So on the right there you can see the beautiful production quality particle effect. And on the left, in the scene view, you can see the particle system itself. It's showing all the wireframes of the individual particles. So this is super optimized. It's running on the Unity Shuriken particle system. It's working natively. It's really low overheads, really nice, smooth implementation. So anything you make in Particle Designer is going to be working as if it was made specifically for Unity. So it's a very easy workflow, and it's very well optimized as well. So anything you fancy putting in should sit very nicely with any project you have. So you can see the script here. We've got a few little bits and pieces. The two main things are source, loop, and those two together really will allow you to customize your particle effects. There's also a shader material there, but if you want to change the particle effect, you can see there we've got the source as New Sun, but it's basically as simple as just dragging and dropping, and that's it. So you can see we dragged the explosion effect on there, and it's changed it. If we want to change the actual particle, just drag the particle to the texture box. There, that's it. It's as simple as that. So if you just want to do your own effects, just drag any of these in, doesn't matter which one, and boom, straight away, exploding popcorn. Any of these effects will work immediately, no customization needed at all. If you've exported from Particle Designer and use any of these particles or particle systems, you can see they just drag them in and they'll work straight away. It's super simple workflow. Like, if you just make a prefab for every one of these instances that you want a new particle effect, it's very easy, and you can control them dynamically again if you want. But you can see there, so just the script source will change the effect, and dragging a particle onto the shader texture will change the particle. That's it. There's nothing more to it. So really, if you're just interested in bringing in your particle effects, you don't want to change anything, you just want that easy workflow, then that's it. You can even, if you want, so you can see there we've got some kind of horrendous popcorn hive maelstrom. If you want, you can use your own particle effects, but let's show you how to make one of those from scratch. So what we're going to do is take the Icoparticles prefab, drop it on stage. You can see there's a missing reference exception there because it's expecting a particle system. So you can see in the source there's nothing there. So let's drag the explosion onto source. Let's set it to loop. Let's give it its proper texture. Nice and easy. Hit play. Boom. There we go. Explosion's working. Looking absolutely beautiful. And that it's as simple as that. So you just drag the prefab on, set the effect that you want, set the texture you want, and that's it. It'll work. And of course, like I say, if you don't hit play, it should run outside the particle system, the Unity play system anyway. It should just work in the editor so you can see it running and see what it looks like while you're editing. So that's about the size of it. Probably what we're going to do now is have a look at the dynamic example, so we can actually change these programmatically. If you're not interested in that, well, don't worry about it. Just tune out, and if you have any problems, just let me know. But if you are interested in doing this on the fly, like I said, it's probably a good idea because it's nice and dynamic and it saves time. So I'll show you the example now. It's a very simple interface just to access the bits of code that we've showed there. So let me just open up MonoDevelop. Just pull the starting engine a few times. It's not the quickest program in the universe, but here we are. Okay, so here's the file. You can see it's pretty well commented, so you shouldn't have any problem finding your way around. It's these 4 variables really here that you're going to be changing if you want to have a play around with this example. The default effect, default material, default loop, and default delay. So those correspond to those 4 things that we've just been using in the actual Unity system. So you can see default effect, particle system / new sun. That would give us that just selecting any of the effects there that are in that folder that we showed you earlier. Probably we'll stick with real popcorn for now because I like that. It's a nice effect. Then we've got the default material, which is the texture that it's going to be using. So we've got there specified different texture / Ico icon. So that's something I made in Photoshop. That's not from Particle Designer. That's just an example to show you can swap these out super easily. The default loop set to true and default delay 1000 as it was earlier. Right, so in our first function, the first thing we've done is get a reference to the script and the material. So particle script there is getting a reference to the Icoparticles component. So if we look at our prefab there, it's just that script. It's getting a reference to that script. It's as simple as that, so that we can access those source and loop bits and pieces. So if we go back again, particle material, so this.renderer.material. So what that will do is get a reference to the shader instance for the game object that we have, and then the material itself. So let's look at the functions. So the first thing, we're setting the effect to default effect. So there's the set effect function. So what we're doing, simple as this, is we're just loading in the effect we specified above, real popcorn. So we're loading in that Particle Designer file, and then we're just doing particle script.source. So that's the command you want to use if you want to change the particle system. So we're changing the dot source to the default effect, which in this case is real popcorn. So it's as simple as that to change the source. Very simple. Same with the material. Like if you're just going to make, you've got to load in the material that we've specified above, which is that special texture that I made earlier. Once that texture is loaded in, we're going to set the texture dot main texture to that. Nothing else to it. And then the next 2 functions, very, very simple. You can set the loop by saying dot loop in the script, and the loop delay by saying dot loop delay in the script. That's it. Really, really simple stuff. Super easy to do on the fly. So what we've got there, we should really have it so if this script runs, it'll change it to popcorn and change the particle to the Ico icon. So if we drag that onto the prefab, and now hit play because it's set to run on awake, so it'll work the minute we start this up, then hopefully our manager should change this effect from this explosion to this particle we see here running in real popcorn. So fingers crossed, and we'll give that a run, and hopefully everything will turn out real nice. Hey, beautiful. So there we go. So there's the popcorn effect using the texture that we just dynamically changed. It doesn't have to be a texture exported from Particle Designer. It can be any texture you like, so you can switch textures out on the fly, which is pretty nice and useful. So it's just changing the source for the effect and the texture for the actual particle. And that's it. It's a simple workflow. Simple if you don't want to code, simple if you do want to code. Like, really, really easy. Super high fidelity reproductions of the stuff from Particle Designer, all run natively in Unity. So really, it should be super easy to use. And if you've used a particle system before, it'll all be very familiar to you anyway. So yeah, that's the Particle Designer plugin by Icoplay. If you want to, if you come here from elsewhere and you haven't used Particle Designer before, I recommend it. It's super strong, versatile, really easy to use. But otherwise, well, just have a nice day.